My name is Russ Troyer, and I started at Purdue in 1968 in aeronautical engineering, and about halfway through, probably the end of my sophomore year or the beginning of my junior year, I'm not sure which, I learned what aero grads were actually doing, the ones that could get a job. And that was not my vision. I was not anticipating being in a sea of cubicles, using my slide rule to work on the 2 feet of an airliner wing that had been assigned to me. I was more about designing things, spaceships to Mars or fighter planes, or it wasn't going to matter to me a lot. I just wanted to design something. And so it was time to reevaluate, and interdisciplinary engineering was an option. And I began thinking about it, and I also was aware of the Masters of Science in Industrial Administration at Krannert. And my parents were sitting on my shoulder, the little voice whispering, practical, practical, practical. And so I decided a business master's was the practical thing to do. So I graduated in '72 with my BS IDE, and in '73 with an MSIA. And my concentration in IDE was operations research and large-scale systems. And they both fascinated me, and I think probably because of their complexity, and they were very math heavy, and I was all about math when I was there. Although I couldn't integrate my way out of a paper bag now. Because of IDE, I was also able to take electives to prep for the MSIA. So my class schedule was pretty interesting. I had a bunch of graduate level OR courses and freshman accounting, econ, and so, but IDE let me mix that all up, and it was the perfect path for me. It was just the right thing at the exact right time. And I was very fortunate. The job I got out of grad school, and I got into computer technology, and I have basically surfed that wave for my whole career. If it hadn't been for IDE, I'm not quite sure what I would have done.
Hi, I'm Zack Kovalenko. I'm studying theater engineering in the multidisciplinary engineering program at Purdue University. And with that, I plan on entering the film industry as a scenic carpenter and then move into technical direction. What makes it engineering is that a lot of what technical direction has to do with is budgeting, management, material selection, and structural analysis to make sure that everything is safe. So there's a lot of math involved with that when designing just general platforming and such like that. Part of my reasoning behind going through the multidisciplinary engineering program is that it will give me a head start ahead of other scenic carpenters who are in technical theater rather than engineering. I've learned a lot. I've grown as a carpenter a lot, and I've had a lot of internship opportunities throughout the summers with professional theaters across the country. Last summer I was in Ithaca, New York, working with the Hangar Theater, and we had a world premiere of a show there. It was called Dégagé. It's about a retired dancer who works in hospice care now and is taking her experience in dance and is applying it to working with all these people who are disabled in some way. My resume and portfolio speaks for itself, but beyond that, the first question I usually get is theater engineering. So I think that is at least a good way to get into the conversation of what that means and how I can be a benefit to their team.
I'm Abby. I'm a junior in interdisciplinary engineering studies with a concentration in pre-med. My goals are to become a doctor. I am also very deeply interested in research as well, so I'm hoping to pursue a career that combines both of them. I've always been interested in medicine. My mom's a pediatrician, and her clinic has been a second home for me. I tried to stray and create my own path, but it kind of pulls me back, and I think it could be my own path as well. Research is fairly new. I only discovered it in college, and after my internship between freshman and sophomore year, I started loving it, and since then I joined a lab on campus, and I don't see a way to practice without having that as a part of my life. I do love kids a lot. I've been volunteering with kids since I was allowed to start volunteering on my own, which is like junior year of high school. It's definitely something I enjoy, so I'm looking into it. I've shadowed some pediatricians, and it's a possible future. I like cardiology a lot as well. Personally, just enjoy the cardiovascular system, and ever since I watched a surgery in high school, it's kind of attracted me. And then surgery is cool, so I like the idea of it, but it's a long time away, so I try not to think too seriously right now about it. Just trying to get in for now.
Hi, my name is Reece Lehman. I'm studying visual design engineering through multidisciplinary engineering, and I'm getting a degree in economics from the College of Liberal Arts as well. Visual design engineering can mean different things to anyone who's studying this program. To me, it gave me the ability to study mechanical engineering while also providing the flexibility to study CAD work and also some art classes. And I found that art classes can mean something different to people who don't know about it. So I actually took some robotic art classes and used microcontrollers to create interactive artworks, which I thought was really interesting, and it's not what people first think of when they think of art classes. But I think it's really provided me with a robust engineering and design experience that you want to get elsewhere. I'm really interested in product development, and specifically in the consumer space, so human interaction and user experience design, things of that nature. When I was in high school, I was really interested in architecture and sculptural things, and really that interplay between design and engineering. And I wasn't really confident in my art abilities to go straight into industrial design, and I didn't want to lose the technical skills that I had learned as well. So when I made the switch from economics into engineering, visual design just seemed like the perfect fit, where I was able to get a really strong technical education without giving up my passion for art and design.
My name is Lemert, and I'm a senior here at Purdue. I'm studying multidisciplinary engineering with a self-designed concentration in global security engineering. So multidisciplinary engineering is a really unique program to Purdue in that it allows students to sort of shape and tailor their own engineering degree. And I've used that freedom to incorporate classes from political science, international relations, global studies, other languages and cultures like Arabic and Spanish. So all of those things together have given me the problem-solving background of engineering, but at the same time have given me a global policy perspective. I've gotten to work a lot in my coursework through multidisciplinary engineering, and also in my internships with consulting firms and with federal agencies. I've got to work directly at the intersection of privacy and technology and sort of international relations. And having learned about all of those issues, I got really interested in the implications that emerging technologies like internet technologies or cyber technologies are going to have on people's privacy. And so we're already seeing that, in the US, we're having intense public debates over these issues. But when you think about authoritarian regimes like China or Iran, they aren't going to be having these discussions. They're not democracies, right? And so I'm really interested in working to help shape international law and international norms so that we can influence authoritarian regimes to use these technologies for the good of their citizenry and not against their own citizenries. And so with that issue, the one I want to work on, when I come back from the UK after studying basically computer science and intelligence, right? So I'll come back and hopefully go to law school for intelligence law, international law, and cyber law. And having studied that, I would love to go work at one of those institutions that has the power to shape international law. So there's not a huge list of institutions that can do that. One is the State Department, the UN, there's NATO, and then some other areas of government or maybe the private sector that can shape international law. But long term, yeah, I would love to help write international cyber law and policy.
So hi, I'm Brenna Ryan. I'm a senior in multidisciplinary engineering with a concentration in general engineering and pre-med studies. So what I love about this major specifically is that it allows me to gain an engineering degree and use the problem-solving side of my intellect while also being able to apply it to different fields. So for me, I am very problem-driven. I love math and science, so I loved being able to learn about that and in all sorts of different ways through a variety of engineering coursework. But in the long run, I'd love to work as a physician. So for me, I wanted to be able to take those classes while also learning about the human body and about biochemistry and organic chemistry. And this major allowed me to do both at the same time, which I thought was absolutely amazing. So I've received a position through the Orr Fellowship Program, which is based in Indianapolis, and I believe they have roughly 60 Orr Fellows this year, so they're constantly growing. And it's an amazing program. It helps you learn business skills, it helps you apply whatever knowledge it is that you learned in college, and it puts you in a job that's maybe meant for someone 2 to 3 years out rather than just immediately after graduation. So through this fellowship program, I've been partnered with a company called Clear Object. They're a tech company in Indianapolis, relatively new, but a very successful company, and they work in cloud computing and the Internet of Things. And I will be going to work for them as an associate project manager through the Orr Fellowship. So I'll be working with my boss, learning a new trade, so to speak, and helping them implement that as a company and be very successful. So I'm very excited. That's a 2-year program, and then after that, we'll see